Hi, I'm Kenna Squires, and I wanted to go over keeping the barrels up, which I don't really think about keeping them up, but my body apparently, I think it's not on the first forefront of my mind, but it must be, because, well, you don't win anything if you hit a barrel. There's nobody ever won a barrel race with a +5. So that it really does matter, but I don't want it to be what dominates the way I ride. You can sit down too soon and make a mistake and hit a barrel. You can have a horse that's a little bit out of hand. You could be trying to pull him off, and he's pushing into your hand and get too close and catch a barrel. But and then there's brushing one down with the hip, and to me, that's a gamble. And sometimes it pays, and sometimes you get to pay for it. It's nothing to beat yourself up over. It's a difference in riding 2 inches further, or your horse not slipping, or whatever. When they're brushing one down with the hip, unless they do it everywhere you go, then maybe you got a little something that just needs tweaking. But it's brushing one down with the hip, I don't beat myself up over. I hope nobody else does either, because it's just a matter of a very small difference. But the rest of it, when you're trying to keep them up, if you get to hitting barrels a lot, something has got to change. And if they're making the kaboom noise or the big deep marks in your legs, seriously, something's got to change. It's already getting to be a bad habit. For me, again, I have to say, position is all of it. The same place I'd set them. If I've got one that's hitting a barrel, I may reach up and just smooch and scare my colt all the way up in the hole. I'll scare him up further than I would normally ask a horse to go. Or, for me, I might check them and not completely stop that horse, but mostly I want to remind him where his spot is, and if I have to reach up here, if he starts shutting down right there, well then I scare him all the way up in this hole. And if you've got a horse that is really wanting to be a little impossible on you, I'll make them not run, not anything else. I just make them go on out there. I make them forget that they even get locked in on the second barrel. If I can help it, I think a lot of mistakes are made by making a fight about picking up and moving over, picking up and moving one this way and that way. Whether it's two-handed or it's one-handed, you should really, if you're trying to counteract it before they actually drop and try to shut you off going into a barrel, well then you just cost yourself time. It may work, it may not work, but man, it's so much easier just to ride them and then let them turn. If it gets to be a wrestling match between you and your horse to getting up off the barrels, anytime you've got to sit here and do much of that, and literally these girls that come in here and stand a barrel up with one hand, that's a real neat thing. But if they don't come back and fix whatever went wrong for them to get in that shape, they're in a world of trouble. And I see it at the futurities. You see a lot of people reach down and grab a barrel in the short go that are good at it. You're not going to catch them doing it on the second run. They're going to come in here and fix it if they got a problem, because that short goes about that final money. You can't do that twice in a row and get by with it. Horses will just keep getting a little shorter and a little shorter. And always come back when you feel yourself getting in trouble. Come back, free your horse up if you have to. And this horse is just flat shutting you off. I'll push this hip in, and I'll push him all the way out to here. Whoa. Now, that didn't scare this horse, but it scares a lot of horses, so you have to do it easy. And that is not something you want to do very often. It's just sometimes when they're cheating, their front end's wanting to do all the working and their back end isn't. So I just keep that back end locked up under them, where they have to realize that they can't just start diving in the front. I don't know if that'll help, but I will always say, look where you want to go. Don't start pulling if you don't have to. Have your horse listening to you. and ride them in the hole. Ride them all the way in the hole. If you do that, you should not hit a barrel unless your horse slips and catches it by accident. If it's not a freak deal, that should always work.